Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to have lots of tips on how to soften and blend graphite, and I'm going to demonstrate that on this recent clownfish drawing that I have created. So my very first layer is to use graphite powder. I do like the softness that this creates, and in this situation I'm using an eye makeup applicator to apply this. The reason I've chosen this is because it does give more of a softness compared to a paper blending stump. I also find that the eye makeup sponge gives me a quicker application. One of the things to remember though when using graphite powder is it's not going to be as dark as the graphite pencils. If the subject that I am drawing, that area is particularly light, then I might not need to use my graphite pencils there at all, but that's something that I will be covering later in this video. So as I'm starting to continue to work with this graphite powder, I'm simply mapping in some key areas first. I don't really want to be working with a solid layer of graphite and then losing where I am, so I do like to try to visualize this in stages. When working with more of the softening and blending techniques, it is also a potential risk here to overblend. So I really do need to be making sure that I still have this definition in between those facial features and those lights and darks. Up to this stage in the layering process, I have used a couple of my pencils just to give me some slight definition, either to make the eye a little bit darker or to give this outline where the white stripe around the body is. But up to this point now, I'm going to go back to my graphite powder and maintain more of my softness but enhance my contrast. So here, as I'm starting to build in a little bit more of that darker graphite powder, this is where I am enhancing that shape and form of the face. It's really important when drawing animals that don't have fur or feathers that we still give the indication of the structures under the skin. So where there are some shadows, some bright highlights, we do want to make sure that we've got those in the right place, exactly as we would when drawing fur or feathers. This is going to help add a bit of the shaping to the cheekbone, maybe around by the eye socket, where the lips are. Everything here is really going to help maximize that realism. Even when we're working with scales or skin, we want to be making sure that we have got that three-dimensional form and that we're not just skipping over this because there's no actual detail. The softening and blending techniques that are required here are going to give us that impression of that detail without it actually being pencil strokes. I still want to make sure that I am capturing where the top of the back is, whether or not the parts of the anemone are casting a shadow. All of this is going to help with that end result that I'm aiming for in this drawing. Now the later stages where I am using my pencils, this will vary depending on the subject. So if there is more actual texture within fur or feathers, I will usually start with my graphite pencils a lot sooner than I have here. But at this point I could do the bulk of this with graphite powder, make my life a lot easier, simplify that drawing process, and then only now come in with my pencils to tidy up those values and hint at the scales. What is crucial here is that I don't push that detail in the scales too much, because in some situations when drawing fish, that can actually make it look like they're unwell, the scales are being pushed out from the body, almost a bit like a bloated look. So really do study that reference photo closely, and if the scales are barely visible, try to make sure that you've captured that softness. Now when working on the anemone, this is where elements can become very confusing. We can get lost with where we're looking at the reference photo. By the time we glance back at the drawing, we're spending more time hesitating. So when I'm feeling like that, with an element that is as overlapped as this, I like to break it up into one or two small sections at a time. If I can start to pinpoint exact areas, those lights and darks, that reference photo becomes immediately less confusing. However, just like when I was working on the fish, I'm maintaining my softness at all stages. I'm not worrying about trying to get this as dark as it needs to be. That can all be built up later. But I want to just simplify this corner of the reference photo. I don't like to work one whole layer at a time, especially on something like this, because I think it becomes too much of a rinse and repeat process, and that's where layers can start to get rushed. We can start to cut corners and make mistakes. We can also then become more likely to put in a solid layer of graphite and lose the definition between these areas of the individual tentacles in the anemone. Now, one thing I do start to do now is come back in with my blending stump, but still using my graphite powder. What I'm doing here is helping to get a little bit more of the darker value, but be more specific. Because the eye makeup applicator is a softer, larger sponge, that can create too much of a soft edge. And because the anemone here does still have more of those individual structures, I wanted to get a little bit more definition, but not detail. So that's the only reason why I've switched over to the paper blending stump. You can see here that I am able to be a lot more precise with where that graphite powder is going. Once I'm happy with that, and I've got a few of these tentacles mapped in, then I can come in and potentially tidy that up with either more graphite powder or my pencils. However, a big part of this is actually tidying up the edges with my erasers rather than the pencils themselves. This was because the lighting on the anemone was quite bright, but if I had an area that was a particularly dark shadow, which I'll get to later on in the video, I did use more of my pencils for that. So it is going to depend on the lighting. One thing that is crucial here is if you've got an area of a highlight and that doesn't look light enough, but you've allowed the white of the paper to show through, then that tells you that you need to darken up a shadow or a darker part of that anemone in order to make the highlight appear brighter. At the end of this video, I actually adjust the lighting on some parts of the anemone to make the fish stand out more. This is something where we can use the artistic license to make our drawing better and adapt it from the reference photo. With this kind of project and subject, my pencil technique is completely different to when working on fur or feathers, anything that does have real detail. I still want to make sure that I am maintaining my softness, and I will switch between my pencils, darken that up, and then maybe my eye makeup applicator or blending stump to soften those areas where needed. The last thing I want to do here is have scribble marks, and that could happen because the pencil is too sharp, maybe I'm using a little bit too much pressure, or that movement with my hand is just too quick. If I do notice that I'm doing that, one of the first things I ask myself is, am I getting tired? Do I need to have a break? Because if I start to rush with the pencils and I am getting those kinds of marks, then usually it's because I need a break. So having those times away from the easel are just as important as the time spent drawing. There is no point in spending an extra hour, 2 hours on that area if we know that we are rushing, if we're not quite giving it the right amount of time, because then at the end of that process, it takes far longer to fix those issues or those mistakes. This lower corner of the drawing is the bit that I come back to at the end and make darker. I will show that because I do feel that these decisions that we can make can help with pushing our artwork to that next level. We don't have to be completely stuck on that reference photo and copy that exactly. But for this stage in the drawing, I wasn't really aware of that until I had the rest of the drawing mapped in. So at the moment, I am working a bit more cautiously, and I am making sure that my base foundation of graphite powder is lighter than what I've done up to this stage. And that is simply because this lower part of the anemone was significantly lighter than the rest. But as mentioned, once I got my drawing almost finished, I felt that this area was distracting. Because it's also directly next to the clownfish, I felt like it was pulling focus towards the lower edge of the drawing, which is not what you want. The edges of the artwork, the corners, I don't want there to be anything that's going to pull focus away from the subject. However, again, there are no set rules in art, and I did want the balance a bit more established because for me and my purpose of this drawing, the anemone was still very, very important, and I wanted that to be part of this drawing enough to make it feel that that anemone, this is its home. It's that area of the drawing that is important. It helps with the feel, the composition, but I certainly didn't want it to be distracting and overpowering. So tweaking this, adjusting the lighting, isn't something that I would normally do unless I had a specific plan initially. And I will at times hype up my contrast drastically in my drawings from my reference photo. But here, this was something that I decided to do later on. And in some cases, this is just simply because we've got more of the drawing in place. We start to maybe evolve those ideas as we go. And eventually you might end up with an artwork that you prefer far more than the original reference photo. For me, that's something that I love about creating realism. It isn't just about taking a reference photo and copying that exactly. We can make those changes to what we feel is going to make our artwork better. I mentioned earlier in this video about the importance of darkening up something to help make an area next to it appear lighter. And by getting the deeper part of this anemone, those darker shadows mapped in, this has helped to bring the fish closer to the camera. It's helped make the whiter stripe appear lighter. Everything here does have a knock-on effect, and graphite is a wonderful medium for practicing the refinement of contrast and values. We don't have to worry about colour at all, and this here, it's something where it really does isolate how important values are. If colour was the most important factor when working with colour-based mediums, then graphite, charcoal, anything that was grayscale wouldn't look realistic, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Graphite here, and if the contrast is right, it will just look like a black and white photo. So working with a grayscale medium, it could be if you work with pastels, just work with a black and white pencil. It's a great exercise to do to improve your overall drawing skills. But values here, it's something, this project in particular, it's a real focus. Getting something where we've got bright highlights right next to dark shadows and having the confidence to go dark enough is a very big factor. And that is something that I do speak to a lot of artists about, and that fear of going too dark and not being able to put lighter details over the top. However, this is something that I do really cover in my real-time versions of these tutorials, but that relies on how the graphite has been applied. So if the correct layering process has been used, then for the most part, we should be able to put in lighter highlights, fine details over the top of very dark layers of graphite. I have a black pug tutorial here on YouTube, and I do have the real-time version available, which is all linked in the description below. But in that YouTube version, you'll see that the layers of graphite are exceptionally dark, but I am still able to go back at the end and add the lighter whiskers over the top. I don't like to draw around my highlights. I do like to incorporate them over the top of my dark base foundation or the darker layers underneath as I've built those up. And as long as the graphite has been applied in the correct way, then that is achievable. But if you do have any questions relating to that, anything to do with graphite, do let me know in the comments below, because I am always happy to help if I can. So one last thing here to mention is you'll see that in that lower corner, directly below the clownfish, I have darkened those parts of the anemone. When I was working on that section earlier on in this video, everything there was much lighter. I have also added a little bit more definition to the ends of the tentacles in that part because they were more out of focus, but that softness there, with how light that was, again, I just felt like it was a bit too distracting. So I did use my artistic license to make those adjustments, and at this stage now I'm adjusting my contrast yet again. I'm brightening my highlights, darkening any shadows, and what I did do here is I put this away for a day or two and then I got it back out just to double check once my eyes were rested whether or not there was anything else that needed to be adjusted. There is an awful lot going on in this drawing in terms of the parts of the anemone that I didn't want to call this finished too soon. So once my eyes had had a rest, then I could fully make that decision and then know if it was finished or not. So I do hope this video has been useful. If it was, I'd be very grateful if you could give it a like and a thumbs up. It makes a huge difference to my channel. I do also upload a couple of videos to YouTube every week, so if you would like to get notified of that content, then don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell button. If you do have any art related questions, feel free to pop them in the comments. I'm always happy to help if I can. And if you would like to draw along to the real-time version of this clownfish tutorial, I will link that in the description below. I will upload another video next week, but as always, thank you so much for watching.